All right, hey everybody, it's Scoots. I'm just loading up these questions for the AMA. I'm trying to monitor my audio because I know last time it wasn't coming through. It still looks like it's a little low, but whatever. Unable to connect to chat. Okay, that's interesting. So I don't know if I'll be able to see this chat or not. Let me see. Test. Oh, we'll see. Okay, so I may not be able to chat, but I'm going to be answering these questions from the AMA on Patreon here. I hope everybody is practicing good self care and just taking things one day at a time or moment to moment. If anybody is popping in on chat, say hi. But I get, oh boy, I don't even know where my phone is. Oh, here it is. So if anybody is on chat, just pop in and say hi. I want to try to reboot this because yesterday I tried to restart the thing and it did not go well. So yeah, today's Wednesday. New episodes coming out on Patreon for $5 and up patrons. Speedy Speed Cushion, Sleep Speedy Cushion. Well, now my phone is buzzing nonstop. Oh, that's just 4 o'clock emails going out, auto emails. And then in the free feed is what is it, 8.59? Let's see. Sleepy Ticket to Ride? No, that can't be right. It's got to be 8.60. Poetry of Straws. Okay. It looks like is it Amelie? Am I getting your name correct? Is seeing the stream. So cool. I'm going to answer these questions, and then I'll try to answer any questions that came up today. I'm going to be here till 4:30, and I do have to kind of do another thing on Instagram in the next couple hours, but I'm trying to really be responsible with my time. Let me check at what we got here from the last question we asked. It was Amalek's question, which I'm going to check and make sure I have that correct next, about writing. That was the last question from yesterday. So let me just see here. I'm wondering if this, like how the sound is, but I guess because we don't have chat, it's not a big deal. Okay, so yeah, let's just get back into it. Christine asks, "What's your favorite real-time recipes episode and why?" That still counts as one question. Let's see. Well, I'm going to look up. If you're a patron or you're not a patron, make sure you're not only is your feed set up, but that you kind of use an app. If you're a power user, like that, use app like Overcast or Pocket Cast or Podcast Addict, so that you can search for stuff. So I'm going to search for real time in here and see what comes up, and just take a look at the real time episodes. Oh, I don't have any internet on my phone, so that's not going to work. My Wi-Fi network. Oh, I wonder if I'm still broadcasting because my phone doesn't have Wi-Fi. Oh boy. Well, it says I'm still. So, well, you win some, you lose some. So, what is my favorite? I don't have a favorite real-time recipe episode. Um, and really, my brain, it's really hard for me to think about old episodes. I mean, I think the last time I did, yeah. So I don't know if I have a favorite one. I mean, my favorite is like my favorite ending of one is when Justin McElroy and Doc Brown showed up, but I'm not even sure if that was like the first episode or the last one. I mean, the first real time episode we did. I've got a fly here too. So I don't know. I wish I had a good answer, but yeah, I don't have a favorite. I guess that's the answer. Is I don't have a favorite real time recipe. Jennifer asks, how much of your stories? And this kind of we answered a little bit yesterday. Like how much of your stories are written ahead of time versus ad lib on the spot. I'm a big fan of the meandering style of your show. Completely stopped using sleep aids since I become a regular listener. Thanks, Scoots. So thank you, Jennifer. it kind of depends. So the serialized, the ongoing series are written ahead of time. Some of the TV show episodes are, I guess you could say, written ahead of time. They're based on extensive notes, and then I'm watching the show, and then I might be reading the transcript of the TV show. So those are written. I'll watch a TV show like well, 4 or 5 or 6 times, and do that. So it's weird that I can't, that the chat is not available to me, but um, I don't know. I get so frustrated with stuff like this. Uh, okay, let me just try. Sorry, I'm distractible. What can I say? And that fly keeps flying right in my face. I think it tried to fly in my mouth. Um, okay, let me just try one more thing. Oh, it worked. If I, for some reason, it works if I do it. Hey, Joe's in the chat. Thanks, Joe. So I just had to remove the chat from. You make a kid me. You make a sleep podcast where you're distracted. Okay, so now I have access to the chat. Great. Okay, so back to the question. So Jennifer, sorry about that. So the TV show episodes are written, and then the ongoing episodes are written, and then some of the trending Tuesday style episodes or the random episodes. Those are some might be research intensive, but and some of those are made up on the spot or they're made up based on randomizers. So it kind of depends. Ideally, the show has some structure, and then the intros are all made up. Sometimes I'll have notes, but for the most part, the intros are made up, but they're not totally made up because the intros always have a beginning, middle, and end and a very specific structure. So even though the intros are 12 to 20 minutes long, they start like they have to end with me saying thanks for listening and let's get on with the show. And they always start off with me introducing what the podcast is, Creaky Dulcet Tones, Pointless Meanders, and then telling new listeners what to expect, like interspersed with tangents. So the show, like, it's a mixture of structure and the ability to go off topic. I don't know. I guess I could. Oh man, now I messed up again. So it's kind of a mix of both, I guess. And then I kind of answered it in some of the other AMA stuff too. But you can always ask more questions because I'm trying to keep doing these. Stacy, one of the moderators, longtime listener, asked, "You have mad organizational skills. How do you keep all the moving parts together?" I think it's like, so there's a lot of things I'm disorganized about, like this bug flying in my face. But I think like it all really comes from the deadline. Like all the organization comes from having hard deadlines. So the shows, they used to come out Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, and then the shows now come out on Wednesday and Sunday. And those are hard deadlines. I mean, at this point, I have contractual agreements and stuff for stuff. I mean, I could miss it by an hour or two, or if there's something like I had a personal situation, I could push an episode. But for the most part, even before I had contractual agreements, it was like those were hard deadlines for me, and that just helped me overcome my perfectionism and also stay organized. So it's like I know, like let's say I was going to go on vacation, and I started planning my vacation. I would start looking at like, okay, what are we looking at as far as releases go? Okay, do we have enough stuff to get what episodes are coming out on what days and where in the production chain are those episodes? And then just experience has really helped me. But I'm always looking to get slightly more organized, Stacy. I'm trying to use a daily planner right now. So it's a still work in progress. The podcast has given me many growth opportunities. Joe in the chat, Joe was one of the people at one live show I did in LA. Joe asks, with everything going on, is Mountain Mama's still delivering? And oh boy, is she. You know, those people that happen to live in the quad states. They are like Mountain Mama is, out on the country roads, misty mountains, taking care of people for sure, Joe. Um, Nancy asks about your creativity. You're able to create super detailed images in your listener's mind using only sound. Do you make visual art? What visual artists are you attracted to or inspire you? Um, so, I mean, it's definitely different than visual art. I don't make any visual art. Just not a visual artist. So, um, I don't know. I'm not good at answering these questions either. My brain just doesn't organize that way. Of like, oh, like so, like I could try to get back to on like what visual artists I think about. But yeah, I mean, it's just a different kind of like audio gives you like a creative constraint and a freedom to try to create those images or theater or to show people using just your words, especially the monologue style podcasts like Sleep With Me. Um, so I enjoy that. Like I enjoy that challenge of like, how do I paint a picture using only words and pauses and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't do any visual art. I think like the reason I'm attracted to podcasting is because I'm limited in my visual art creation abilities. Um, and so yeah, this is the canvas that I'm able to paint on. Let's see, back to the chat. Margarita, is that correct? Am I hitting the right? Is that the correct pronunciation? I think I answered your question yesterday, um, but it's good to see you. It can be dissonant for people to see me live, but I think it's important for me now to just be connected to the listeners in any ways I can. Okay, Eleanor asks, what do you do to get your thoughts and anxieties out of your head during waking hours? You do an excellent job of keeping us grounded, and I you ground yourself. Well, I don't like. I think it's like part of it is that don't. I try to do that when I'm recording, but I definitely struggle a lot with anxiety. So I think it's just like a day to day thing. I mean, meditation is big help. I mean, I work like I get all the help. Like I work on my self care and stuff on a weekly basis. But yeah, I don't have any. I think meditation on a regular basis, just like it was a medication, like meditating when I don't do it, like I don't notice it until I'm like, why am I so flustered? So it's kind of unflashy, but it's like, oh, meditating on a daily basis, even if it's a few minutes in the morning and at night, is just like kind of part of my self care routine. And then, I mean, working with professional, I mean, for me, is getting help is other ways I deal with it. Um, so those are the two best things for me. Is like, yeah, those are two things I would say. Susan asks, I love the mini golf episode. Any chance Ray might do a series reviewing mini golf courses? Lots of potential material there. Could fit in with the vacation thing or cover golf lane courses in the Bay Area. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't do any on location episodes anymore because of just time and budget. I have emailed golf courses before, but it's just like having to go there when they're not open would be the only way. So I don't know. Ray may one day. Ray and I have like a ton of Ray material written actually, and just not time to record it all. So I probably have like at least like 6 episodes of Ray. But yeah, that's a good idea is for Ray to do some of those. Yeah, I'd love to do them. Like I was just in Orlando for a conference, not for pleasure, but even when I was in lifts, I did see a bunch of mini golf courses. But a lot of times they don't respond to my emails. So as successful as the podcast is to listeners, a lot of people won't give me the time of day, and then it's like, oh, it's like really time. It would be time, yeah. So maybe I would love to do. I would love to play all the golf courses at Ocean City. Um, Brittany asks, are you similar in in real life to your podcast? Do your thoughts wander off while speaking to others? Definitely. I mean, I'm less calm in real life, but definitely my thoughts are very jumpy and I go off topic and ramble. But I tend to be very quiet because of that. So I really, most of the time, I don't have much to say. Like I'll just try to keep to myself. Um, uh, and then Brittany also has love to come to the Pacific Northwest for a live show. Yeah, hopefully, like in the next year, we'll all be in a place where we're looking to do communal things together, and the show will have picked up momentum. So maybe 2021. I'd love to do some shows. I mean, I feel like I did one at Pod. I did two shows at PodCon in Seattle. The 2 years they had those. One was the first live version of Sleep with Me I ever did, and then the last one was with David from No Sleep Podcast, and we did a mashup of our two shows. So yeah, at some point, I'm sure that would be like if there's going to be the next podcasting convention. I know that we're looking at is in August in Chicago, but I'm sure at some point it would come to either Seattle or Portland. Let's see. Annette, let me just check the. Annette says, I'd just like to thank you for distracting my restless mind. No problem. I'm happy to help. Kiefer asks, name an album you might fall asleep to. So all the ones I fall asleep to are Pink Noise. So, and they're all like, they're not, that's like another thing I got to get in the business of doing is making Pink Noise because none of them quite measure up. But yeah, usually like if I'm on the road, I'll like I like they always change what's on Spotify. So it's like I'll find something I like on Spotify, and then it might go leave Spotify, or I have trouble finding it because I had this one fan. It was like a box fan or an industrial fan, and it was perfect. But then I could never find it again. I thought I saved it on my phone, and then I've had a couple Pink Noise ones I like because it's really like the ones that fade out don't work for me. I need something that's 8 hours of continuous Pink Noise. I also just paid for. Let me see if I could find it in my phone because now I can't think of the name of the app. My Noise, is that what it was? Um, and I paid I downloaded a bunch of things, but then I just bought their entire subscription. Uh, so that's one I've been playing with. It's like My Noise, and it has some free stuff, but like I'd used it enough. And I mean, as somebody that makes stuff and realizes like how hard it is, um, I paid for their entire package. It has a lot of cool stuff. It's pretty fun. Not quite again. I don't want to be critical, but it doesn't have the Pink Noise that I necessarily want. But I did use it on a plane and at an airport. Like I slept at an airport for a while, not that long ago, for a couple of hours, and it worked pretty well. So I like, but I don't have any albums because I can't. I don't necessarily can fall asleep to music. Um, so try that Sleep one by Max Richter. Carrie asks, how do you decide what TV shows to follow? I resisted those episodes for a long time, but finally broke down and binged on some of the best TV. The Good Place became one of my favorite shows. Thanks and stay healthy. So yeah, this is a pretty popular question. Is George Benson, The Other Side of Abbey Road? Is that an album, Joe? I'll have to check that out. So, Carrie, how I picked the TV shows is there's a couple things, but the main quantifier is it has to be a TV show that's so good that I can watch an episode 5 or 6 times and still want to watch another episode of the TV show, and that takes evens it down to like very few shows. I mean, I guess that's like the number one thing. It used to be I liked shows with a big catalog, which I still kind of would gravitate towards, but it's just that's the number one thing. The show has to be so good and have so much like so many things, so many details that like none of the shows I have a grudge against. and I think that says a lot about the show. So I've done Breaking Bad. Well, there was a show that I was covering that I stopped, and I think it was just because of that reason. It was like, I mean, it wasn't really sleep conducive TV show anyway, but it was also like I just like I don't know, like I just started to be like I can't keep. I don't know, like so Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, The Good Place, Doctor Who, Star Trek: The Next Generation, and The Mandalorian, and I've watched all of those, each episode at least 5 times probably that I've covered, and none of them I'm like I can't take another episode. Like I was watching TNG this week, like research for the show, and I was like, oh wow, like for pleasure. The first time I watch anything, it's for pleasure. So that's like the biggest. I think that's the biggest thing. It's like, yeah, I mean, because there's a lot of other shows that have like fans or they have like I like something about it, but then I'll watch it. I mean, other things that would like disqualify stuff would be like it's too obscure or too niche or not readily available. I don't know. Like I thought about doing the show The Prisoner, but it's just too kitschy. Like I really like that show, and I think it's a pretty cool concept, but it's just not. Um, Again, and it would just be like limited. And I'm not positive I could actually like I've only watched most of those episodes once or twice, so I'm not positive I could watch them that many more times. Let's see. So we're at 421. If anybody is here in the chat wants to ask any questions, I got about 8 more minutes. I'm going to look up this album Joe recommended here. Ings is doing. If anybody uses Instagram, I'll be on Instagram Live probably like 5:30 or something for a little while. Ings is doing lullabies for grown-ups. Jonathan Mann's doing a lot of streaming. Night Vale's doing a lot of streaming. So there's a lot of people out there doing a lot of streaming now. Just to keep people company and entertain you and take your mind off stuff. GOR George Benson. But yeah, so if anybody has any questions here, hit me up. Otherwise, I'm just getting my George Benson on. Oh boy. Okay, follow. Okay, so if anybody has any questions, otherwise I'm going to start answering this question here. Yeah, and I'm going to try to do this regularly for right now. Like as long as I keep it to a half hour and then the Instagram lives to a half hour, like that's the time I work on the live shows, and there's not going to be any live shows for a while. So it's like I have that time. Like also I'm getting like there's less business emails. So it's like between the half hour I'd work on the live shows a day, and I have an extra half hour that I would have been doing business emails. Like I can do these streams. Okay, so last question. Lisa asks, "How did I create Ray?" He's one of the characters. So Ray, this is a tough question. So Ray is real. I mean, I don't really like. So here's the thing. Like, I'll excuse me. So let me take this from another approach because I don't want to comment on the reality of Ray or whatever. So a lot of times, especially when I had a full time job and I was putting out 3 episodes a week, but even now, I can't have a rule. Like in sales, there's this like I don't know if anybody's seen Glenn Ross, but there was this scene with Alec Baldwin who was like ABC, always be closing. And for me, it's ABR, always be recording or coming up with ideas to record. And a lot of times, especially when I had a full-time job, that was the case. Like literally, when I first decided to let Ray record episodes was so yeah, this is like a Ray Genesis story. Was like I was a Sunday. I'd gone to a movie in San Francisco, so this was like 2014. Podcast was pretty new, and I still had to record an episode to come out on Tuesday. and I wasn't like, I remember I was riding a bike and I was like, oh my gosh, I still got to record an episode like a normal person would just like start their Sunday wind down. And I was like, okay, well, it's not the case for us. So what are we going to do? And I remembered I had this neighbor, Ray, and he was telling me that there was this river in Disney World called the Sassagoula River. It's called the Sassagoula River or something, but he was calling it the Sassagoula River. And I said, I really like the way that sounds. And I said, well, I don't really want to record an episode anyway. So I said, Ray, why don't you come over? And he said, what do you want me to talk about? And I said, what's the name of that river? He said, Sassagoula. That's where my hotel was, the Sassagoula River. And I said, okay, why don't you just start talking about your trip to Disney and I'll record it. And then the rest was history. So that's how I met Ray. Yeah, that's it. So that's it for the, my voice is running out for some reason. So that's it. Let's see what else. So I got a couple more minutes. So I recorded opening and a thank yous for a TNG episode. I recorded the episode yesterday. That won't be out for a while. And then, yeah, Patreon. I think on Saturday on Patreon, I'm releasing an experimental episode I did that didn't work out. So that'll be interesting. I hope everybody's watching. If you are a patron, make sure your Patreon feed is set up. Like, I don't because sometimes I hear from patrons and they say, well, geez, like, I just don't set it up because I don't need it. But it's like, for me, it doesn't cost me anything either way. Like, it's all built into our agreement with Patreon. So it's like, I just don't want patrons to miss out. I almost am starting to beg people, like, please set up your Patreon feed, just because there's so much good stuff in there and so much more to choose from. And it only takes a minute or two. Sleepwithmepodcast.com/Patreon FAQ is where to go, and just set it up. And a lot of patrons listen to the free podcast and the Patreon podcast in the same app. It's just so much just so much more content. Like the story only episodes, Monday and Tuesday night this week were story only episodes. So if you like listen all night, it's just something enjoyable. So that's it. I'll answer more questions. I don't have a time for tomorrow. Let me see, because what times have we covered so far? Maybe I'll try. I can't guarantee that I can do it tomorrow at 1 p.m., but that's what I'm going to shoot for, is 1 p.m. Pacific tomorrow, just so in case wherever people are in the world, it's like I'm hitting all the time zones. But thanks, everybody. Thank you for supporting the show. Like, people, it's not an easy time, so you don't have to stay supporting the show. But if you are in a position where you can, thank you so much for that, because it really means a lot. And I really appreciate it. And speaking on behalf of whatever the hundreds of thousands of other people that aren't patrons, they really appreciate it too. So thank you so much. And you could add any questions in if you want. And I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be on Instagram later, and I'll try to keep doing lenses and stuff too. All right. Thanks, patrons. Take care. And I'll talk to you tonight, I guess.